Welcome back to InGen Legal's web series on conveyancing in Victoria. Today, we'll be discussing the most important aspect of a conveyance, the contract of sale for land. In today's video, we will be covering what the contract actually is, the particulars of sale, inclusions and exclusions, cooling off, special conditions, and finally, the general conditions. As a bonus, we will delve into the origins of the general conditions too. Now, let's move into the first topic. A contract of sale for land is the agreement between the purchaser and the vendor for the transfer of land and the title. This is legally referred to as the conveyance of land unto a transferee from a transferor. A transferee is a purchaser, the person accepting transfer of the land. A transferor is the vendor, the person providing the land under the transferee for monies payable at settlement. The contract of sale for land is a key document. It outlines all the agreements, conditions, and key dates for the conveyance to take place between the purchaser and the vendor. There cannot be a transfer of land without a contract of sale or deed, as it is referred to in the Instruments Act 1958. Now it is time for the particulars of sale. The particulars of sale outline the basic agreements between the purchaser and the vendor. You'll find it towards the start of the contract. It will usually say in a big bold heading, particulars of sale. This part of the contract will provide you the details of the purchase price, when the deposit monies need to be paid, what will be included or excluded with the purchase if the land is subject to a lease, whether it is subject to finance, building and pest conditions or other special conditions apply, and whether GST is applicable. We will cover the basics of GST in future videos, but for now, keep in mind for existing residential property. GST withholding is not applicable, and a GST withholding notice will be provided confirming GST is not applicable. The balance due to the vendor means the amount you need to pay at settlement. Don't forget, this figure does not take into account the statement of adjustments, transfer of land fees, and stamp duties, which we will discuss in detail in future videos. If the particulars of sale say subject to lease, this means the property is currently tenanted or rented, and at settlement, the vendor does not have to give you an empty house or vacant possession to move into. The inclusions are personal items or chattels that the vendor will include with the sale. These items may include dishwashers, barbecues, bookshelves, or any items which are identified in the goods sold with the land or inclusion part of the particulars of sale. There are fixtures which are included automatically in the purchase of land. These items include curtains, carpet or tiles, or any item that's very much fixed to the land and intended to remain with the property. Exclusions are the opposite of inclusions. They are items that simply do not form part of the sale. When completing a contract review, it is always important to confirm what is actually being included and what is excluded with the purchase. Well, it looks like it's time to have a break. Maybe it's time to cool off. As Vic Prop Law used to say, we're sure you'll warm up to the idea of a cooling off. Cooling off allows a purchaser to exit the contract within 3 days from the day that the purchaser signed the contract. It is not a free way out, though. To cool off, a purchaser needs to pay either $100 or 0.2% of the purchase price, whichever is higher. Expected to almost always be 0.2% of the purchase price. Best to discuss this as early as possible if you want to cool off, so that it can be done without delay. Keep in mind, if you go to an auction, you won't get access to cooling off, so you will be locked into the contract. You also will not have access to cooling off if you sign an offer within 3 business days of the auction. Fun fact, cooling off is not available to real estate agents that buy property. So if you're watching this and you're a real estate agent, be like other real estate agents and call InGen Legal first. Finally, the purchaser's 3 business days does not include weekends or public holidays. So if a purchaser signs on a Friday, they get Saturday and Sunday as extra days, meaning they can still cool off until the following Wednesday. The common special conditions you should consider are subject to finance, subject to building and/or pest, and ensuring appliances are in working order prior to settlement. If there is an owner's corporation or body corporate, it is best to get more information about this from InGen Legal. InGen Legal always discusses this aspect in detail when we complete contract reviews. We provide further strategies to protect you against potential future costs regarding owner's corporation to make sure you can safely sign the contract of sale. For more information on special conditions, we recommend you speak to InGen Legal. Everybody loves an origin story, so let's start with the origin story of the general conditions. Once upon a time, the Estate Agents Contracts Regulations 2008 was created. This act gave birth to the general conditions of a contract of sale for land in Victoria. These are standardised conditions for every contract of sale for land in Victoria. The Law Institute of Victoria and Real Estate Institute of Victoria worked together to create the general conditions, and they continued to amend them as time proceeded due to the innovation of legal practice with digitisation and less requirement for traditional style practice. The general conditions actually expired in 2018. However, they are still used today because they provide answers to impasses during the conveyance and provide fairness between the parties for most issues. They can be amended by way of special conditions, but generally remain unchanged. You should have a look through these conditions. They will give you the foundation about the conveyance process in Victoria. It will also provide the standardised details of subject to finance and subject to building and pest. We hope this provided you just that extra illumination in your path through a conveyance. Whether you are a seller or a buyer, hopefully these videos will give you just a little extra confidence in what is happening. InGen Legal clients love the fact that they are always aware of what is happening and never feel lost, but this is for anyone that might get some use out of these. That's all for today. Check out our other videos for more information on conveyancing and other areas of law, and subscribe to make sure you get to always see the newest videos to help you understand the processes of law in Australia. Our next episode will be covering the second part of the documentation for an agreement between parties for land, the vendor statement. I'm Anthony of InGen Legal, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.